Hello, my name is Maxim and today we are going to explore GameMaker. So I'm going to create new project by clicking new. I need to choose the blank because this is like the same template with predefined the code. I need to specify the location where I'm going to save my project. So I'm going to choose GameMaker, select folder, and I need to provide the name. And I'm going to call this variables video. And click let's go. Project will be created. So here is the window of the game maker. On the right side we have the asset browser. This is the place where we're going to create a lot of our like objects, sprites, and other things. Right now particularly we are interested in the objects. So object, this is like can be anything, starting from the hero to the enemy, like to the some control object which will control the game flow. And today we're going to explore the variables inside of the game maker. So I'm going to create like just simple object. So I need to click off my right mouse of the button on the objects, click create, and I'm going to choose the object. So it's automatically this window pop up and my object by default called object one. And this is like the best practice to add prefixes to the every like entity in the game maker, like object. I would add the prefix object and then I can call it something like variable. Why do I need those? Because for example, if I create the object variable and then I want to create the sprite, so let's try that. So for example, I have the object variable, right? And next I'm going to create, let's for example, sprite. I'm going to create new. I'm going to choose sprite and I also can try to call it variable. And what's going to happen? It said that name must be unique. So that's why every object, like entity in the game maker, should start from the prefix. So if this is the object, I'm going to add prefix object. And then I can create sprite with prefix spr, for example, variable, and everything will be fine. So there is multiple parameters for the objects. I can add sprite, I can make it visible, persistence between the room, other things, but right now we are not interested in those. So what we are interested in is events. So there is the multiple events can be added to object. Once I click add event, this window pop up and here is like a bunch of them. Every of them is responsible for some certain action. So right now I'm going to choose the create. It's asking me, do I want to do the code or do I want to do the visual? I'm going to use the code and I will click don't ask again for this project. Okay. So now I have code window opened. And first I can change the description. For example, this can be something like initial variables. And once I change it here, it's automatically updated this description in the events field. When create event is used, create event is used when object just created. So this is like the nice place to put some initial variables which will be used when object is created. For example, I can define here something like hero experience. Let's call it 0 because it's just new hero without any experience. Then I can add hero name. I would name it Maxim as my name. And hero, for example, alive, I would call true. So we have like this variable, uh, which will have this value once object is created. And you may see immediately I've got this message. They said that variable not used anywhere. So it's just created, but I'm not referencing this variable anywhere. So I'm going to save this create object. And next, what I'm going to add, event draw. So this event is executed when object like is displayed. So I'm going to call show initial show stats, not initial. And what I'm going to do here is to just print the value of those variables. To do that, I'm going to use method called draw text. And as you may see here, there is a bunch of this draw text. I'm going to use the first one, which is required first. This is the coordinates. I'm going to specify something like 20, 20, and first one will be hero experience. Then I'm going to duplicate this line 3 times. And let me call hero name and if hero is alive. So I'm using here 3 type of variables. Like this is the integer, this is the string, and this is the boolean. And I'm going to print each of them. To be able to print those, I need to add object in the room. Room, this is like our area where like game will be running. So it can be some like level, zone, or something like that. So room is one is always created by default. So I'm going to click rooms and open the room one. And here is my room. It's just empty space, empty dark space. I have 2 layers here, instances and the background. Background, this is where I can change like the background of my room. So I can click some color and I can change. And I'm going to use the black one because the text which we are going to print will be the white one. So it's like it'd be nicely visible. But also I can define here some sprite. It will and like specify some image which will be used as the background. Next one is the instances. Instances, this is like the layer where object can be added to the room. So what I'm going to do is to just move the object right here. So object itself do not have any sprite, so it won't be visible. But draw text method will print the text to the like our window. So now I would say everything, and I can click F5 or run. So I'm going to click run. It will compile the game, and variables is printed. But you may see that it's printed some like messy thing, which is not clear what this was. So let's back to the object variable, sorry, to the object, and here's our mistake that we are printing all the variables in the same position. So I'm going to change this position to the position of y, and it will show, should be right now much better. So as you may see, like experience is 0, name is Maxim, and it's printed not the true, but it's printed the 1. Because in the GameMaker and in general in programming languages, 0 means false and 1 means true. How can we now update those variables? For example, hero like killed some enemy, got some experience, or enemy kill hero and status change from alive to true to alive false. Uh, to do that, I'm going to use event of another kind of event, key press. So I'm going to click here. There is a bunch, so I can click, for example, I can use the mouse, but I'm going to use key pressed. And here is like some predefined, like basically you can choose any key on the keyboard to trigger this action. But let me choose, for example, key up. And another one which I'm going to use, key pressed, I'm going to use space. So right now I have 2 events. So I want to increase experience of the hero once I click up button. So what can I do? I can specify this hero experience and I can just click plus plus. That means that every time when I click button up, what's going to happen? It's going to happen something like this. Hero experience plus 1. But it's kind of more convenient way to write the same. I can add not 1, but I can add something higher. But let's keep it hero experience plus plus. This means every time when I click button up, 1 experience will be added. And let's change hero space. For example, once space button is clicked, hero status changed from the true to hero alive, changed from the true to false. And let's start the game again. So right now we have experience 0, but I'm starting to click button up, and you may see that experience increasing. Once I click space, hero become not alive. Uh, Also, like this variable which we describe right now, this is the local variable, but also there is another kind of the variable. So let me create another object, and I'm going to call this object variable 2. And for example, I want to add event, and let's check. Let's take the same. So once key pressed is enter, I want to also change the status of hero alive from false to true. So what I would do, I would do hero alive equal to true, right? And let's see what's going to happen. Add this variable right there. So right now we have two objects. Okay, let me click space. But once I click enter, nothing is happening. But enter should change the status of the alive from false to true, but nothing is happening because those variables, those are local variables, and I'm not able to access variables from the one object into another object. But there is, of course, the way to do it. So if I want to change the value of the variable from another object, I can add here global. Let's make this variable global. So this means this will be accessed, can be accessed by any object. Of course, I would need to replace everywhere from hero alive. Let's change right here. And let's go to the object 2 and change right here. So once enter is pressed, it should change. Let's try to run. Okay. Now I click space, it's 0. And now I click enter, it's 1. So now it's one, two objects share the same variable and can change the value of it. Okay, thank you for your attention. That's all for today. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel to do not miss any new videos. Have a nice day.